Hey guys, Sleepy Reader here. Today is a very important day for those who really love comic books. Today is Jack Kirby's birthday. And I would say he is the Pablo Picasso, the Rembrandt, the Leonardo da Vinci of comic books, and maybe a little bit of the the Homer, like Homer in the Iliad, kind of, and the authors of other kind of primary material that makes up our literature. He's the author of so much of the primary material that makes up our comic book literature. And he was such a great artist, so innovative. There was a time where every artist at Marvel was told to try to draw more like Jack Kirby. And there's a good reason for that, although it may have been oppressive to those artists at the time. But I think without him, there certainly would be no recognizable Marvel comics at all. There would probably be far less cool characters in the DCU either. But also, art and storytelling of comics would look entirely different. The feel, the pacing of stories, the imaginative quality of stories, the larger-than-life feel that so many comics strive for, it just wouldn't be the same if Jack Kirby hadn't existed. I would guess at least half the comic books that we read just wouldn't exist, in an alternate universe where Jack Kirby hadn't existed. There's so many just characters that he created, and then his art style, his approach to storytelling. I'm getting kind of repetitive because I want to show off more comics. But happy birthday to Jack Kirby, 95. It's possible to imagine he might have lived to this age, although he had a good, long life. And, he got to create a lot, and that's important. But he was treated poorly by the industry. Time and again, by DC, by Marvel, no doubt by other comic book companies that we don't know about anymore. But no matter what, he gave it his best, and his best was amazing. So he is still the standard. I don't think we'll ever see anyone like him again. So it's nice to think about him on his birthday. Think about all the pleasure that we derive from comic books and how much of that comes from Jack Kirby initially, or at least in part. Just wanted to give a shout out to Jack on his birthday, and remind all of you guys, if you haven't thought about Jack Kirby lately, or if, by some chance you haven't read a lot of Jack Kirby, go back, seek it out. I think you'll see lots of stuff in there that will amaze you. The art is both, simple and fantastically complex at the same time, and stunning visually, just, jumping out at you, always surprising you, always exciting you. So if you read Jack Kirby, you'll just start seeing all kinds of familiar stuff, because Jack was always there in what you've been reading, even if you didn't know it. So here's just a small handful of stuff that directly derives from Jack Kirby, without whom it wouldn't look this way. We wouldn't have these characters, I don't think, even created by other people. They wouldn't have created them if Jack Kirby hadn't inspired them. So I think, along with half of the comics we read come directly from Jack Kirby, I'd say another large portion of the comics we read would look entirely different without Jack Kirby having existed. Whoops. So even, characters created by other people are, of course, he created Captain America, he created Fantastic Four, he created the Demon. But characters like Trio, there's no way that would exist without Jack Kirby. But I think even something like this, George Perez art wouldn't exist without Jack Kirby. Or George Perez would have been, an entirely different artist without Jack Kirby. Stories like Planetary, as advanced and sophisticated as they are, you wouldn't have seen that without Jack Kirby, I don't believe, without all the Jack Kirby comic books that the creators of Planetary absorbed over the years. Of course, along with lots of other pop culture, but he's a foundational figure in pop culture, especially comic book culture. But when you think of how much comic book culture has affected other things, his reach goes way out. So happy birthday, Jack Kirby. And I'll see you all your videos soon.